right, how's it going? This is my very first check-in, and I'm gonna be telling a story today. Um, Let me preface this by saying I am not in any way, shape, or means glorifying, or um, putting prison on a pedestal. If it's the worst, it's the worst place in the world. One of the absolute worst things that you worst situations you could put yourself in. And I'm actually telling it to discourage people from committing the acts that can get you there. And I understand accidents happen. You might be driving home from Applebee's and you had too many glasses of wine. Get an argument with your wife and you know swerve, and that could be it. I met people in there like that. But first, let me check in. This is my very first check-in video. I think I already said that. So far, uh, I'm on the right track. I I'm getting a little bit more positive. Definitely, the first video was pretty rough. Um, it was brand new. I had just had like that crazy breakdown, and now I just want to talk about where I am in my headspace and what I'm doing with my life. Like I said before, I promised you guys that I would be brutally honest, and I want you to be brutally honest with me. And if anybody else wants to take the ride with me, I'll check in and try to help you stay accountable too. But I got a interview in 2 days for a Mickey Mouse job. Nothing, just something real small to get me back on my feet, pay some bills, keep gas in the car. Um, I also spoke to another gentleman about another potential position a little bit later down the line. I'm studying at least a couple hours every day. I have my state certification for. I had a good job before all this happened. I had a really good job, and I have to take a state cert to get my license towards it again. And it is one of the most demanding tests I've ever taken in my life, especially from my background. It's really difficult. Later on, I'll talk more about that, what job I had, especially when we get closer to me taking the test. Um, it's a 4 hour 4 hour time limit, which seems like a lot, and there's 115 questions. And last time, that was what really got me, was the not enough time. Honestly, it's you have to have a book, and you have to go through this monster of a book, actually two books, and answer on time. And yeah, so yeah, interview, got my test coming up hopefully in a few weeks. I actually ran the other day. I got my fat butt up and moved around. Went for a little jog the other night. Well, it was foggy, that way nobody could see me. Uh, and what else? Oh, I've been just trying to build a better relationship with my family and my wife, and yeah, just I've been studying a lot, writing a lot, thinking about this stream a lot, and I guess we'll take it from here. I'm going to be telling you guys. It's not the first day, but it's the first day and a half of my horrible experience in prison. So let's kick that off. All right, so I guess I'll start off in the van on my way. So in the van on my way to prison. I'm not gonna name what prison yet, just because I'm trying to. I mean, I'm sure you guys will find out, but I'm really hoping people will kind of honor the fact that I'm trying to hide my identity, at least for now. So we're on their way to prison, cramped up, shackled in, and we're driving, bumping along, and it's a long, long drive from the county that I was being held at. I was at that county for about, I think I was in the county for about 8 or 9 months before I finally, they finally decided that they weren't going to deal with me anymore, and they were going to send me to the camp. Not really a fun camp, but level 3 prison. So we get out of the van, and they stand you in a line, and obviously there's two halves to the van. There's this half where the guys who are active, and this half where there's a couple guys that were in protective custody. And if anybody doesn't know what that means, protective custody means you've committed a crime that puts you at risk to be in contact with the other prisoners. So we can't get to them, we can't harm them. Things like child crimes, sex crimes, that sort of thing. So they let us out first. We stand in line, and there's a CO standing right there with a clip book, just looking up our name. They name you. You walk up, and then you have your bag with all the stuff you were wearing when you came into county. I hadn't seen it for quite a long time. It was pretty interesting. It seems like every time I get locked up, I'm in my work clothes. I have, and my work clothes are really expensive. I usually have to wear these fire resistant coveralls, and my pops always told me, you needed good boots and a good bed. So I always not splurged, but paid a good amount for my boots. At least $250, $300 boots, and the FRs that you wear, they're real pricey as well. So you get there, and they ask you, what's your affiliation, and I will talk about what my affiliation was, because I'm retired, but what my affiliation was at another date. And also I'll tell you the crime I committed to get there. I don't have any crimes that have any violence, or anything that would make me PC. So protective custody. I'm not protective custody. And when you're not protective custody, you are considered active. So walk up, guy with the clipboard. You go in, and they strip you down from your clothes, and they make you. I mean, I think that's the big majority of prison, is stripping you down and treating you like an animal, and just the humiliation is a big factor there, especially the prison that I was at. The prison that I went to, it's closed now, absolutely shut down due to the conditions. The conditions were deplorable. But they strip you down, they make you, check your body everywhere. Then you put your clothes back on, and then you go sit in front of another CO for a second, and they say, do you have any money on your books? Because the stuff that you were wearing, along with the cell phone and your wallet, if you don't have any money on your books, they throw everything away right in front of you, and you're burnt. Didn't have any money on my books. So I had one envelope that had a stamp on it already. So I took my ID and like two other important cards that I had, and a SD card from my phone, so I could save the pictures from family and memories and stuff like that. Put it in the envelope, sent it home, and for some reason it never made it home. But that was way down the line anyway. It really didn't matter. After you do that, they put you see, at least in that facility, there's a big desk in the middle, and then there's two sides, big giant bullpens, where there's the Northerners in this one with the with the blacks, the African Americans. And then on this side, there's the Southern Mexicans with the Paisas and the whites. So I'm sitting in there, and I'm talking to people, trying to, because it's my first time. I've never been in prison. So it's always jail. I did about maybe 6.5 years in prison before. In jail before I ever went to prison. And yeah. So anyways, go inside the bullpen, kind of talk to a couple guys, asking them about the get down, letting them know I'm brand new. Yes, I'm active. And another thing too is, whenever you go to prison, you got to make sure. And please don't go to prison, but you have to keep your paperwork on you, your discovery package, everything that has all the laws that you've ever broken on it, so that when you introduce yourself to the other active prisoners there, you can say, hey, these are my crimes. I've never hurt a child. I've never hurt a woman like that. I'm not a weirdo. I'm not a sicko. I'm not a dropout. I'm not a snitch. So I'm gripping onto my little paperwork, making sure I got it, because some people don't know, and they don't bring their paperwork, and that can spell trouble if you don't get your paperwork on time. So you sit there, you wait, and then they call you up again. And at this point, I wear contacts. So at this point, I had only one contact in my head, because the other one had fallen out in jail, and I'm just walking around like this, miles, looking like Mr. Miyagi, and so you wait like through about 16 hours. I was waiting. It went from almost dark early in the morning to definitely dark at night. They call us up. They give us this dirty, stinky roll. It's we call them the pound rolls because the dog pounds, they use the same like cheap. It almost looks like pressed carpet blankets. You get 2 outfits, your blanket. If you're lucky, you get a pillow, your underwear, and a pair or 2 of socks. Then they start walking you in, and I'm telling you, I don't care how tough you are, how big you are, what kind of shit you've been through. The very first time you walk into a cell block, especially a prison like that used to be considered one of California's gladiator schools, you're scared. You're scared. You cannot show it. You cannot act like it, but you're shaking. I've seen some tough dudes, and they've all told me they were scared. So the facility I was in the cell block, they rack open the door, you go in, and you got your roll like this because you're still cuffed, trying to hold it without falling, dropping it all over the place. There's 3 tiers, 1, 2, 3, and it goes straight on for quite a while. I was lucky enough to be on the bottom tier, so they put me in. So it's called reception. So a reception center is where they take you in, they kind of find out your medical needs, if there's anything wrong with you. Like for me, I needed glasses. And if you're going to be a problem, if you're going to be a big problem, they're going to endorse you to a higher level security of prison. And actually, a reception center isn't just for that. A reception center can be also a prison. So you got the reception side and then the regular mainline side. So I go into my cell, nobody's in there, so I'm like, yes, I got my own cell, right? First thing I noticed when I walked in was, how small, how dirty it was, and there's a window, and it's not too big, probably about like 2 feet, wide, 3 feet high, but it's built in grids, so it's got these little tiny thin windows, little tiny thin glass windows, about 9 of them, and 4 of them are busted out because during the summertime there it gets ungodly hot, like unbelievably hot. But it was the wintertime. It was clouds were starting to curl up, and it wasn't raining yet. But then my cellie comes in. He's an OG dude who he's a murderer. He was a lifer. A lifer who actually made it out of prison, and he violated by using drugs. If you beat a life sentence, you walk the line. I don't care. You walk the line anyways. But if you have life, and you get out on life, that's a blessing from God. And he somehow, got sent back in. We traded paperwork real quick. He checked mine, I checked his, made sure everything was good, because you're gonna be living with this person for at least the next, at the most, like 120 days is what you do in reception. But so we talk real quick, check each other's paperwork, and then one of the guys from they call it a car. One of the guys from my neck of the woods. There was hardly anybody from my county, but one of the guys from my neck of the woods came towards the cell, and there's a big giant gap underneath the cell, and he's like, "Hey, bro, nice to meet you. My name's such and such." I was like, "Yeah, man, nice to meet you, Zero, bro." He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna let me get that paperwork so I can see if we're all good." I was like, "Yep, no problem." As soon as they came around because in reception, at least there, you don't go to chow. They bring chow to you because they don't know you. They don't know what's going on with you. So when they come around for lunch, or sorry, for whatever the meal was, they had to bring us a meal because it had been anyway. They come around, they popped the door, and I slid my paperwork, and we went through it real quick, went through all the law codes and made sure we're all good. Shook hands. He's like, "All right, man. Yard is mandatory. Tomorrow when they pop it open, yard is mandatory. Your people will be over here by the weight pile, which they just call it the weight pile, but there ain't no weights anymore because dudes are getting too big and becoming too lethal. But they've got the, the chin up, pull up bars, the dip bars. It's the workout area with all the, I'm probably gonna say this wrong, the calisthenic stuff, plyometrics I think is what it's called. All the stuff you can use your own body weight to get, to work out. So still, I eat the food, put away my paperwork. I lay down, make my little bed, try to clean the area as best as I can. I lay down. I'm just looking at the ceiling like, man, what did you do? How did you get here? Like, just how did you get here? And then, like clockwork, it just starts to rain right through that window. My head's right by the window, and it's just pissing down rain on me. And I was just like, well, here I am. So, after struggling for a while, fall asleep, wake up, get ready, and it's time for first yard. That's also another thing that I don't care who you are, I don't care how big you are, especially where I was at is one of the biggest yards in California. It's intimidating. There's a couple thousand people on the yard. So you get ready, you put your little outfit on and your shoes on, you walk out, and the COs file you out. You walk out on the yard, and it's I was blown away by how big this yard was. It was a one big giant mile track, and then there were basketball hoops, and then there's the weight pile in the back, the wall balls over there, where the game where you little blue ball, the handball court. So I don't see any of my people yet. I'm just get on the track, start walking around real slow. Just kind of keep my head up, staying aware of my surroundings. It is raining. You get that big, I don't know if it's still the same way, but you get that big jean jacket that gets soaked in about 2 minutes, but yard is mandatory. So we walk around, or I'm walking around, just kind of keep my eyes open. And then I see my people. Not really, never met them yet, but you can tell who your people are. So I walk over there. I'm like, hey man, how's it going? Nice to meet you, bro. I'm from here. You're from there. Meet all the fellas, and then we start busting down. We start doing burpees. We do burpees for about half the yard. Burpees, push-ups, and then we kind of go in a circle and pick. Each person does like a new type of workout, and we all follow along. You get real sweaty and nasty and all that, but you got to do it. So that happens, and we got like about another 20 minutes left in the yard, soaking wet. So I meet this dude named Jonesy, and he's all right cat. Pretty cool, just normal, seemed pretty low key. Wasn't really trying to kick it with anybody who was doing too much. So we start walking, and I see these two guys pushing another guy in a wheelchair. They're probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 yards ahead of me. I'm not really paying attention too much, and then all of a sudden someone goes, hey man, no disrespect, but come over here real quick. So me and Jonesy walk over, and then I look back. Those two dudes who were pushing the guy in the wheelchair, they're punching him like this, hammer fisting him. And I'm just like, whoa, you know what I mean? I see it. They weren't hammer fisting him. They were stabbing him. They were stabbing him good. I guess he had bad paperwork, and I guess he didn't think they were gonna find out about it. But yeah, they shot one dude from the tower. So there's a big giant tower right in the middle, and one guard shot one of them with a block gun, and then all the rest of their people scrambled to try to mix up the guards so that they didn't really know what was going on, get rid of the weapons or whatever. And the rest of them got bear maced, and the other guy that was involved in it was able to get to a puddle on the ground and wipe off. And everybody was on the ground, got you laying down in the mud in the in the rain, and COs run up, and then the dude had passed away. The guy was dead for a while, but they still airlifted him, and I don't know why. I think it was probably to save face so that they wouldn't get sued. Because I mean, when stuff goes off, depending on what it is, and I don't know what kind of mood the COs are in. I've seen a lot of stuff in there, and they walk like it's a day in the park. You could be getting killed, and they will walk up slower than molasses. Like they don't care. We're all animals in there. Not that I have anything against COs. I don't have anything against COs. I got a couple COs in my family. Got friends that are COs. But in that facility, it just the lack of care for human life, it was just, it's pretty unreal. I never really understood that. But anyways, he gets there lifted off. The one dude who got, found out, he got taken away and put in the hole. Then they go around just kind of watching everybody, and for no reason, well, not no reason, but the dude had a knife on him. So basically the knives that get used in that facility are broken pieces of glass, because the windows are the easiest thing to pop, make a shank, and then you tuck it and get it on the yard. They usually use metal detectors on you every time you go through the yard and random checks and all that, but you're not going to metal detect a piece of glass. So they were hitting him, stabbing him with pieces of glass. And they strip everybody down again, naked again. There's so much nakedness in prison, it's disgusting. But strip everybody down again, make sure nobody has anything on them, even though they knew the other you know the other groups of people, races, or whatever you want to call it. None of them had anything to do with it, because if another race, group of people with similarities, if one race goes up against any other race, it's an automatic riot. It's okay within the politics of prison. So say I have, there's another guy who's from my demographic, and say he owes me money, right? He owes me money and he's flaking on me, and he's giving me a hard time about the money that he owes me. If I beat him up or fight him or whatever, there's not going to be a riot. It's demographic against same demographic. It's cool, but there's also a rule that a lot of people don't know, and I had a buddy in there who didn't know the rule, and he got a lot of trouble for it. Hands laid, debt paid. So if you beat somebody up for going bad on a deal or gambling or whatever it is, the debt is considered paid. And yeah, just a bunch of dumb rules. But so yeah, after they check us, we get dressed, go back to the cells, and they got us on lockdown for a week because of the the incident. And yeah, that was my first day and a half in prison. I seen somebody killed, and horrible, horrible place. Just think about maybe that story the next time you think about maybe doing something that'll get you there, because it don't matter how tough you are, it don't matter how big you are, you're not guaranteed to come home. You're just not. But hope you guys like I said, I'm not endorsing that lifestyle in any way, shape, or form. It's horrible. I'm just bringing it to the real way it works to people's attention, so that maybe I could convince somebody not to go. So anyways, thanks for listening. I'll probably be posting another video tomorrow. Thanks for riding along. This is Zero.